Jazz here, and I am so digging the GeekCast Radio Network.
Greetings, humans. This is Starscream, and you're listening to ToyCast. And if any of you call me a partsformer one more time...
Now, ToyCast. Oh, yes. Listen in to the only toy podcast you will ever need.
Hello and welcome to an all-new generation of ToyCast as we get the origins of any and all toy fans that we can. I am, of course, TFG1Mike, and joining me for the first time since episode 100 is PecanCtMichael. Hello, sir.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going. Sometimes I wish it would stop, but it's going. We are back here at ToyCast, and it is time we started talking toys again. And as everyone has known for the past 8 or 9 episodes of this show, we have ToyCast Origins. 42 questions, all about your toy collecting habits, likes, dislikes, all that other good stuff. Starting out, what is or was the first toy you remember having as a kid?
The first toy as a kid, or
yes,
you mean so not just Transformers, just like any toy?
The first toy. The fact that you only have a Transformers collection will come up way later.
All right then. The first toy that I can remember, I vividly remember, was Star Wars. I had an X-wing fighter with a Luke Skywalker, and I also had a TIE fighter, so I could make them chase each other around the house, which was fantastic. My first broken toy was a sand person from the Star Wars line, and I was playing with my toys outside, and I forgot a sand person in the driveway, and my dad ran him over.
Oh, you mean you didn't lose the sand people in the sandbox? Like, I thought that would have been the...
I don't remember if the driveway was sandy or not, but it was...
it was 1973, so...
Exactly. So there was a lot of... it was heartbreaking, honestly. I vividly remember the broken sand person. Once it occurred to me what it was, I was pretty upset.
They're villains. They're no-name villains. It's okay. Was there a particular adult who was supportive of you playing with toys as a kid? On the opposite side, was there anyone who was unsupportive?
I don't think so. I mean, my parents got me like all the Star Wars toys when I was little, and as I got older, my mom and dad got divorced. I think when I was like 5 or so, and then after that, my mom still bought me toys, not as many toys. I wasn't like a completionist at age 6, but I got toys up until I was probably 14. Arguably too old for toys? I don't know.
I was told at 6 I was too old for toys, so, it is what it is.
Oh, my gosh. No.
Yeah, you remember that. I've told that story a million times on this podcast and other podcasts on the GeekCast Radio Network. I've been telling that story for...
Kid. You go play with a stick.
Yeah, I've been telling that story for like 13 years now. What types of toys were your favorites to play with?
Wow, I've always liked action figures, boys' toys. It went from Star Wars to He-Man to Transformers, and just all action figures, just like boy stuff.
Mm-hmm. What were your favorite childhood toys that really stood out more than others? So were the Transformers more important than G.I. Joe, or was Mask more important than He-Man kind of thing?
I think each one had its own era. Like my Star Wars toys were really important to me up until I started collecting He-Man. And the funny thing is my mom would sell my toys. So Yeah, so it's like, oh, you're not playing with these Star Wars toys anymore. I'm going to sell them. Okay, cool. I've got He-Man. I'm fine. And then, oh, you're not playing with these He-Man toys anymore. I'm going to sell them because now you're playing with Transformers. And I'm like, all right, fine. But I had like a huge trunk, like a steamer trunk. Like you could hide bodies in the steamer trunk. And it was full of He-Man. And she sold that for like $40. And,
Oh, that probably is worth like $4,000 now.
yeah, it is. I can only imagine. The Star Wars toys. Oh, I mean, remember, I'm like 5 in 1978, so I had all the toys, and I had all those in a box, all the way up through Return of the Jedi. And she sold them, I don't know, for like $40-$50. And it's like, oh my God, if I had that box today, put that on eBay and put my kids through college. That's crazy.
Yep.
But yeah, each kind of like wave of new toys was my favorite at the time. Transformers, though, my mom did not sell that box, and I had it all the way up through adulthood.
There you go. Do you prefer the label of action figures, dolls, toys, or any other label?
I think I like collectibles. When I think of like my G1 Transformers, I think of those as collectibles more than action figures now because, I don't play with them like I did when I was 12.
Absolutely. Good guys or bad guys? Which toys were your favorites to play with the most?
I think I have my favorites on either side. But generally I do like G.I. Joe, really like bad guys. But Transformers, I think I really like the good guys.
Yeah, I mean, that Rodimus kid, man, he's going to be the best leader ever.
What's funny is when that season of Transformers came out, that's when I was on my way out of playing with toys.
That's so depressing.
I know. I never got into like Headmasters or Target Masters.
What is or was your favorite toy vehicle or playset?
Oh, my favorite. As far as like a toy goes, is probably Metroplex. I got a Metroplex for my birthday. My dad got it for me. I might have been, oh boy, how old was I? I might have been like 10. I forget. But no, it would have been later. I was almost 11 or 12. Anyway, what it come down to is I played with that damn thing all the time. He was almost like a carry case because you could put figures in his legs.
Yep.
And so I just carried him around with me under my arm.
Absolutely. This this next question is something I used to do all the time because at recess at school we would always end up bringing school. When I say school, I mean like kindergarten through 6th grade, where recess was a thing, because by 7th, 8th, and 9th grade you really didn't have recess. That was middle school or junior high or whatever. So basically elementary school, when you were actual children.
Yeah.
Did you and your friends ever pretend with your toys that you had? By this, I'm meaning, did you say, I'm going to be this toy and you can be that toy? Like Steve Megatron can be the piece of glass and you can be the can of Coke or the Coke bottle top or whatever. Like, did you sit there and say, I am Optimus Prime and I will rip off your face?
I don't think so, to be honest. I mean, when kids play, it's always like, oh, I am the cop and you're the robber, or, I'm the fireman and we're going to rescue you or something like that. But I was never like, I'm going to be this particular character.
Yeah. Well, basically, like, if you take any of the old Transformers commercials where it's more than one kid, like, if it's two, no, seriously, if it's two kids, one of the kids would say, I'm going to be Megatron, and Optimus, I'm going to shoot you, kind of thing,
Yeah.
And then later they would have more than meets the eye.
Yeah, like creepy kid that transforms into a robot.
Yeah.
There was a TF Con not too long ago where they actually found that guy and brought him out and made him made him a special guest.
Yeah, wasn't that Tommy, I think? I don't remember. But yeah, you're right.
I don't remember. Yeah. It was just something funny that popped into my head.
What features define a good toy to you? How true does the item feel in comparison to the source material likeness?
Wow, what do I like in toys? I think it's hard to say play value. What is play value? Play value is like, is it sturdy? Does it feel? Does it transform well in my hands? Is it something that I feel like I could enjoy playing with?
Mm-hmm.
There are toys that I'm like, this is crap. This is a crappy toy. I would put this on a shelf, but I wouldn't play with him. It's like, yes, I do own that one. It's on a shelf, but I don't play with it. There's a lot of like, Transformers from like the Energon series that are like that, where it's like, yeah, they're all on my shelf, but I don't actually play with them. Versus, let's say, like figures from Beast Wars that I still love to transform. I still enjoy playing with them because they're posable and they're sturdy and they stand up on their own. They have little places in their arms and legs to stow their weapons. They have neat gimmicks. It's just a fun toy.
Absolutely. What does toy packaging have to draw you in? So is it more about the action figure inside, or is it more about part of the the red version of the Autobot package, the old Autobot packaging from G1, where it's red and it has the giant Transformers thing and it has the amazing artwork on the back. Obviously, you have to actually pick up the package to see the artwork on the back. Or is it the Decepticon stuff with the purple and the this and the that?
No, honestly, I think a goodly chunk of it is the artwork. Mm-hmm. I really like figures that, like all the old G.I. Joe figures. You had a bubble, a blister, right, with a guy in it, his weapons, and the bigger the weapon bubble, the more I wanted it. Right? Because you see all the weapons he's got. He's got a lot of weapons in there. But the other side of the card is just a big picture. It was painted. There was a guy who did the painting, and I forget his name now, but he painted like hundreds of these. And they're very consistent looking, and they're all exciting. And they all have that starburst in the background. Yep. That they're kind of like jumping out of in an action pose. I have this problem now with the current line of Transformers, and that they're all in a box. And the box has a window on it, and the figure is so small inside that you can barely see it. And you're like, why is this tiny figure in a box? That doesn't make any sense. They're charging me $20 because it's in a giant box. They're
charging you $50 because it's in a giant box.
Well, that's the thing. They're like, their Voyager size figures are $50. Their leader size figures are like $80 now. Even as a collector, it's hard to justify. Even if I could find them in a Walmart,
I know, right?
Good luck. Yeah. But that's the difference here. Is these older figures, they were on a blister pack and they had really cool artwork on there, and especially like maybe has it been 5 to 10 years now where they had the ones that came with comics, and the comic cover was literally the blister card pack, and you have really just well done art from IDW guys that is right there front and center, but you got this blister pack, and you can see the whole figure. It's not just like a little tiny window where you see a head poking out.
Absolutely. Do you open your toys, or do you leave them in the package? If you keep toys packaged, do you have a specific criteria for this?
It's weird. A lot of my vintage toys are out, because, who has 40-year-old toys still in a box? And the answer is me. I have a few of them. But
you have a whole closet full of them.
Well, that's the thing. I have a closet. I've got a few G1s, and I've got some G2s mint in package. But a lot of the stuff from the 90s and the early aughts, I would buy two. And I'd have one to put in the closet, in the package, and I'd have another one that I'd put on the shelf. And I did that for a long time, up until like the Michael Bay toys. and then I really wasn't excited about those, and I just bought one, and most of those
are in the closet.
Yeah, most of those are in the closet. When I ran out of the room in the closet, I started I stacked them up behind my desk. I've got this desk, it's about 7 feet tall, and there's a gap between the wall and the desk, just big enough to put a blister card, and they're stacked to the ceiling behind the desk because I ran out of room. But yeah, they're all back there. They're, at one point, I was like, I'm going to pull these out of the package, and I'm actually going to transform them, and I'm going to put them on a shelf. And I got a whole shelf, full of 2007 toys. But
honestly, the only movie toy that ever mattered to me that I thought was ever cool enough for me to have at the time when I was collecting anything else except Funko was 2009 Ravage, because he had a purple eye and he was really cool. Movie Ravage, I loved Movie Ravage, but the rest of them, I don't want my Optimus Prime to have his insides on the outside.
Exactly. Or Starscream. I own a Starscream, but I don't like the Starscream.
I love the voice actor, but I don't love the toy.
Yeah. I'm looking at I'm looking on the shelf here. I've actually got 3 Ravages.
Wow.
There was a mail order Ravage. He was like chrome or something, and I forget what promo he was with, but I got him. I was really excited about it. It was funny. We used to have a website for me and my wife that we started when we got married, and I think it ended when we got Facebook because I started posting everything to Facebook instead.
Right.
But I still have all the old pictures and stuff, and I was just looking through photos the other day, old photos, and I found the backed up gallery from that website, and one of them was mail order Ravage. I was like, I wish I could go back and look up the story behind this, because this is kind of neat.
So question 12, folks, for those of you who have heard the previous episodes of Origins here inside on ToyCast, question 12 is specifically because of Michael. Whoa. Michael did not ask this question. He did not write this question down as a suggestion. This is me, because of our friendship. If as a kid/adult, you only were allowed to choose one toy franchise to collect from, which one would you choose and why?
This is because of my criteria of only having one collection. So I chose Transformers, because I own one of each. But when I met my wife, I had a much smaller collection. I had in my head that I wanted to get all the combiners from when I was little, because they were my favorite. Like Devastator, and I had Devastator, but I mean, like I didn't have a Defensor, and I didn't have a Predaking, and I didn't have. I thought like Monstructor would be like the Holy Grail. But as my collection grew, my wife was like, "You get too much crap," and I'm like, "Well, what do you mean?" She's like, "Well, look at this. You have more and more Transformers, but you also have this whole shelf of Star Wars stuff, and it wasn't like Star Wars when I was little, that stuff. It was just, there's a new Star Wars movie in the late 90s, so I'm going to get Darth Vader, I'm going to get a Darth Maul, and I had a bank that if you put money in it, Darth Maul would start swinging his lightsaber back and forth. And it would make noise, and I was like, that is the coolest thing I've ever seen. But my wife is like, you got too much clutter. So we made a compromise. She's like, I'll be supportive, and we'll, go whole hog on your Transformers collection, but you can't have any more, G.I. Joe, or you can't have any more. I didn't have any He-Man or anything at the time, but I had like a smattering of G.I. Joe. I had a smattering of Star Wars and other stuff. And she basically said, nope, you're going to focus on one. And I was happy with that. I'm like, all right. And, true to her word, she did back me up. We went to BotCons together as like vacations. And we every summer, we would go to a new city, to a new BotCon. And she was cool with whatever I wanted to buy, and she would sit in line with me, and sometimes she would take my space in line. So it's like, hey, rather than sit here for 2 hours to talk to Peter Cullen, why don't you go shopping and I'll just wait in line for you? And it's like, oh my God, marry me. And she did. So.
Awesome. Alrighty then. As an adult, do you prefer vintage or modern toys?
Wow. Right now with Transformers, I don't think there's much of a difference.
Yeah, no.
It's like every toy on my 1984 shelf is duplicated on my, Classics shelf. And Classics even was 10 years ago. And now they've got the Earthrise figures that are amazing. I don't have any Earthrise. I don't have any Kingdom, the most recent ones from the last couple of years, which is sad because they're fantastic. They look great. And it'd be nice to, take some G1 toys and put them next to the Earthrise toys.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but no, I think I'm more. I have the toys from G1, and the new ones I haven't so much bought, and it's not so much because I didn't want to. It's just I sadly coronavirus hit, and I spent some time unemployed and just didn't buy toys anymore.
Right.
And now that things are better and I'm employed again. I just don't want to go back and, pay scalper prices for all the toys that I missed.
True.
Yeah.
What is one toy you can always play with?
Wow, that's a good question. I'm looking around. It's like, what was my normal go-to toys? What's weird is I've got my rescue bots here on the shelf, and they're like one-step Transformers, but they're really easy to just pick up and fiddle with. So that's what I do sometimes if I'm on online, I'm talking to somebody, if I want a conference call or, whatever I'm doing at the time, I get up and I wander over and I'll, grab a boulder from Rescue Bots and just fiddle with him.
Cool.
It was a good show.
Yeah, Boulder is awesome.
Yeah.
I hear.
Great
I was gonna say. I hear he has a great voice. Even though there are always, and this is obviously doesn't really apply to you, so I guess we don't have to ask this one. But even though there are always toy lines that people never purchase, are there any that you specifically and purposefully avoid? This can be toy lines, specific characters, that kind of thing.
Toy lines that I avoid. Oh, you know what? I was never big on third party with Transformers, at least. And the thing is I didn't think that it was right to spend like $80 to $100 on a figure that probably shouldn't cost more than $10 on the shelf. And I get it that you're not talking about economies of scale. The people who make these put a lot of time and effort into them, and it's a one man shop in most cases. And they're worth $80. But again, it's like wrapping my head around, why would I pay $10 or why would I pay $80 for that when it's $10 worth of plastic? That being said, I find it hard to justify paying $20 for literally like a deluxe size figure in an oversized box.
Right.
It's hard now, but again, in the 10 years ago, when you first started seeing these third-party figures, it was like, wow, that's kind of neat. I like that, but I can't justify paying, $80 for that. Nowadays, they've got these fantastic, like, weirdly produced figures that are, it's like the Rolling Thunder from G.I. Joe that turns into an Optimus Prime. It's amazing. How did that even happen? Probably were easily worth $150 in my eyes, but I'm still not going to buy it because I got it in my head now that I don't want third-party stuff.
I think the reason why the third-party stuff really crept up and got the popularity it got about a decade or so ago is because Hasbro wasn't giving us much. I mean,
right.
A decade ago, it was 2011. Animated was just about to end, if it didn't already end. I know BotCon 2011 was the animated set, but shortly after that, the animated toy line ended, and they went to Prime or whatever, because I think Prime started in 2010.
Prime. Oh,
yeah,
no.
but anyway, but the point is that, between 2009 and 2011, there were a lot of shifting things in those years that the third parties were like, hey, you want specially cool things for these, like, you bought Classics Magnus or Classic Optimus or Classic Nemesis, or if you got the Shattered Glass 2008 BotCon Optimus Prime, hey, look, we have Shadow Commander or City Commander or whatever the Shattered, whatever. Yeah. But you know what I mean?
The armor,
like,
the Apex armor for the different Optimus builds. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you already owned that figure. Oh, would you like to enhance that figure?
Some Ultra Magnus armor for him, sure.
Yeah, here you go, kind of thing.
Those are really cool. And again, wow, it's really neat stuff, but I just never bought them. The closest thing I got to third party was the Fun Pub figures that were like repaints it's like they maybe should have been
but is Fun Pub really is Fun Publications really a third party, because aren't they that's essentially BotCon?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not really like
right, but I mean they had their BotCon toys, but then every month or so they would release something else. Like I've got like a Chrome Dome that's a repaint of which Wheeljack was that? I forget. But it's like, oh, that's really neat. But it wasn't like one of their exclusive figures. It was just one of those that they sold monthly. They also had like a fan club there for a while, where every month or so there was a different figure. They did a bunch of combiners for that fan club that I did not get, and I was like, oh man, combiners again, near and dear to my heart, but it would justify paying $40 for. It's like by the time it's all said and done, you now have a $600 Power of the Primes combiner.
Yeah.
It's like, honestly, it'd be cheaper to import one from Japan.
True.
Crazy. Like the golden Bruticus, his name was Valdigus. They did a Valdigus in Japan out of the Bruticus set, and it was gorgeous. But again, $250 import one from Japan seemed a bit much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are there any toys in the past or currently that you wish you hadn't bought them? Are there any toys that you may have sold that you regret letting go?
Aside from the huge box of Star Wars from when I was little, yeah, I regret letting that go. My mom would have been like, "You want to sell these?" I'm like, "Heck no! You better find room for them, because I'm never selling them." Even now, my wife is like, "When are you gonna get rid of some of these?" And I'm like, "No, keeping them forever."
Even I'm like that. I mean, they're in the closet. Why? They're not doing anything.
Yeah.
Hell, at least donate them to Toys for Tots if they're 10-year-old toys.
Oh man!
I mean,
I'm sorry, I had a little mini heart attack there. Oof. Wow.
Oh please! If you have doubles, anyway.
Yeah, I have done that before. It's like, oh,
I'm not saying you haven't. I'm not trying to make you out to be a monster. That's not the point here. The point is that your wife said, "Oh, when are you going to get rid of those?" And my thought is, "Oh, well, you should donate them."
Yeah,
unless it's something that's really, really valuable and you can, make your next house payment.
Yeah, no, it's funny, those Shattered Glass box sets are just ridiculously priced now. I don't know what they are right now. I haven't looked, but at one point I heard somebody bought one for $1,000. And I
know for a fact when it was a thing.
Yeah.
When BotCon 2008 was going on, at the time I was working. I had a really, really good job with a really, really good salary kind of thing.
Yeah.
I spent $800 on the whole thing.
Oof.
All the everything, the box set, the all just everything that came with it.
Yeah.
$800 plus a little bit of shipping or whatever the shipping costs. It was like,
Right.
okay, sure.
Scalper prices. Yeah.
Didn't seem that way.
Nah. You
to
know
me.
what's funny? Like I said, my wife and I would go to these BotCons together, right? And she would get a set, and I would get a set because that was, you bought your ticket. That's what you got. You got a set. And as soon as we got home, night one, not even home, back to the hotel room. We'd check in on Thursday night, right before the weekend, and we would get our box set. We'd go back to the hotel room. We'd take pictures of it and immediately put it on eBay. And we would sell it like that night, and it would be, it would pay for the trip.
Wow.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
would get a set, and her set would literally pay for our vacation.
Right. Man, I should not have looked this up. I have no interest whatsoever, but you got me curious to see how bad the BotCon chat, just the 5 figures, not including anything else.
Yeah. The box? The box was the best part.
Well, no, but I'm saying just the box, the 5 figures, not including Rodimus, not including the other, like the $5,000 is the first listing I see for a 5-figure. I shit you not, $5,000
on eBay right now.
Put them all up on eBay. $44.99.95. Like, yeah, like it's not even. Are you kidding me?
I got
here?
a stack of them in the closet, man. They're
Hey, if you got a stack of them in the closet, just give them to me. Damn it! Forget
it's insane. The holy grail of BotCon collectibles for.
Yeah.
I think the big difference. I don't think I have the pin. A lot of people were like, "Oh, you got to have the pin. It's got to have the pin."
Yeah.
I don't think mine has the pin. Could be wrong. But yeah, I've even got the authenticity paper still in mine.
Wow.
It's crazy. I can't, man. I don't know, for $5,000, I'll take $5,000.
Ooh, man,
yeah,
Rodimus is expensive now.
Really?
First listing I see for Shattered Glass Rodimus BotCon 2008, $650 or best offer, plus $14.99 shipping. Looky here, folks. If you're gonna have a figure that costs that much, at least put in free shipping.
I wouldn't put in free shipping because I know me. I would pay $50 worth of packaging to get this guy in there right, so he doesn't get damaged during shipping. There's nothing worse than buying something online and then getting it in, one of those flexible bubble packs, and you're like, why'd you ship it like this? You knew it was expensive. Why didn't you put it in an actual box with peanuts in there or something, some styrofoam to keep it from jostling?
Yeah, this one is interesting. BotCon 2008 Shattered Glass Rodimus. It comes with him, his little flame gun, obviously, his card and his instructions. It says pre-owned, and I'm not looking at the actual listing. I'm just looking at the search result. Yeah. Pre-owned, $1,349.95, free shipping.
Oh my god!
It's crazy.
That's insane. I wonder who wants one that bad that they're going to pay $1,000 for it.
Not me. I had him. Yeah. I'm good.
This isn't one of those, I don't know, like gold-plated Japanese only.
Yeah, like
Moonbase 2 figures.
Wait a minute.
What?
No. What?
I don't have any of those. What?
No. So no, it's
Yes.
Somebody is trying to sell the comic book from BotCon 2008.
Really? Yeah.
Transformers Timelines #3, BotCon edition 2008.
Yeah.
$117.94.
Ooh.
No.
For a comic?
Yeah, just for the comic. That's crazy. All right, we gotta get back.
If you bought my box set for $5,000, I'd throw the comic in for free.
Exactly.
You think,
like, Like, I don't know.
I want to say like one year at BotCon they included like a sucker, and it had a bug in it or something. And it's like, it was. I hope it was a fake bug. I don't remember. I think I still have that sucker somewhere. It's like I would throw in the sucker because
only a sucker is going to pay that price. That's what it is.
That's what it is.
How large or small is your toy collection? Do your toys take up the whole house, or are they relegated to one room, shelf, or something like that?
That was an agreement between my wife and I when we were, when my collection was growing, which was that, my collection stays in my room. And I have an office downstairs. It's goodly sized, right? But I've got all my toys in here. When my son got to be a certain age, I built a certain age that he would want to grab my toys, rather. I built shelves in my office, and they're like, six and a half feet tall and 2 feet deep. And there's a set of like 4 of them, and each one is the size of like a large refrigerator, let's say.
They're essentially Detolfs folks, but a little bit better.
They're oak Deltoffs. What do you mean? It's got glass fronts, and not glass. They're plexiglass, and there's lighting inside, and there's lock and key on the front that are built into the oak. Wow. They're really nice.
Yes, they are.
I probably got like $20,000 worth of shelves here, and because I did it myself, it was significantly cheaper than $20,000. But it's a lot of oak. I like oak in my house. I got a lot of oak trim, but these are really nice shelves. And they're full, like top to bottom, with Transformers. And then, like I said, I got a big oak desk, and with Transformers piled up behind them. And then I got shelves over here. And then I got a closet. And the closet's probably like 12 feet wide. About 8-foot ceilings in there, and and it's jam packed with stuff in the boxes. But outside of my office, I don't have any Transformers. Because they're all in this room. That's the agreement. My wife used to collect stuff, and her room was for her collection, but she doesn't so much collect anything anymore. But my room is chock full of collection.
How do you keep track of your collection now? I know you used to have a spreadsheet.
I did, yeah. I had a spreadsheet. There was a website in the early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s, and it had a list of like everything up through like Beast machines, like all the toys that were sold. And I used that list for a long time. And then after that, I kind of made my own, kind of going along. And I think I kept that list up through the Bay movies. And then after that, I think my collection kind of went downhill, and I stopped recording stuff. But because I had that spreadsheet, I knew what I was missing. I knew what accessories I didn't have, right? And when I would go toy hunting or when I went to BotCon, I could make a subset of my spreadsheet that had just the stuff that I was missing, and I would stick photos in it and then print it out and carry it with me.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I can't. I mean, that spreadsheet's somewhere, but I don't remember exactly where it is. And it's somewhere on my machine, and I just don't. I'm trying to remember where I left off. I think it was. I don't remember exactly. It might have been somewhere, probably around 2010, that I stopped keeping track.
Yeah, somewhere between Animated and Prime.
Somewhere in there, yeah.
Okay, so everyone is safe.
Okay.
You, the wife, the kids, the pets, everybody is safe. But the house is burning and all the oak is just being eaten by the fire.
No.
What is one toy you would run in and save? You can only keep one toy from your entire collection.
Yeah. What's funny is I always said I would grab Fort Max and throw him out the window. If I had to save one toy, Fort Max he'd be the biggest one. I would just run over and grab him real quick.
He's not the biggest one anymore. Well, he might be the biggest one in your collection, but he's not the biggest Transformers toy anymore.
That's the funny thing is I've got I've got bigger toys now that I still got like the Devastator that's 2.5 feet tall or whatever. I got the Metroplex. I got the Trypticon. What other ones were there? I did not get the one I didn't get. It was the Omega Supreme.
Hmm.
And I was kind of bummed because I really wanted one of those, and then that was the last one I did not get. The Predaking. I got the Predaking too. Anyway, so I've got big ones. They're probably bigger than the Fort Max, but they're in the closet with the rest of the box stuff, and my Fort Max is just right here, sitting next to my desk. So
Yep.
yeah, I would probably just scoop him up. It's funny. I've got a what is it? I don't think it's Brave Max. What's the name of the one that came out with the Robots in Disguise line in 2000 in Japan?
I don't know.
So there's like 3 flavors of Fort Max. There's Fort Max, there's Brave Max that came out in Japan. It was a repaint of Fort Max, and then there was the one that came out in 2000. Anyway, I got him in a box.
Mm-hmm.
And the box for that guy is directly behind Fort Max, and sadly, Fort Max I'd probably grab first. He's roughly the size of a child, and I have to rescue the children. They're the first ones going out the window.
Oh boy!
Throw them out that window. Well, in the basement, my windows are ground level. I'm not actually throwing them to their death. I'm just
but you're still
rescuing them
chucking
from
your
the burning
children
building.
out the window.
Exactly. Now, but I've got so many toys down here, and I wouldn't I wouldn't hide in the basement while the rest of not hide, but I wouldn't stay in the basement throwing toys out the window while the house is burning. And because I have a spreadsheet of everything I own and pictures and such, I could probably still, carry those to the insurance and say, this is everything I lost. Except for that Fort Max, because I threw him out the window.
All right, so here's the Toy Box Challenge. This is kind of the same question, but a little different. You get one 18 by 18 by 18 box. The only toys you can keep have to fit in the box. What can you pack into it?
Oh, man. You know what? I've got a whole shelf here, the oak shelves, right? And I got one dedicated to 1984 and 1985 G1 toys. Mm-hmm. And I could probably hold the box next to the shelf, reach one arm in, and just scoop them into it.
There you go.
That would probably, yeah. So at that point, I'd have 84 and 85. And the shelf above that is like 86, 87. I got a bunch of combiners up here, and I got my triple changers and such. Got my mail-in stuff, things like that. And right. It would be a shame to let those go. But if some of them still fit in that box, I'd be like, yeah, let me grab these.
Awesome. Are you a Funko fan?
Sadly, I don't have many Funkos. I'm not a Funko fan. My kids liked Funkos for a while, and I've got a couple Overwatch figures because I've played Overwatch for like 5 years straight, and I've got a Pickle Rick. So I've got my Mercy and my May from Overwatch, and I've got Pickle Rick on the shelf, and that's it. And they're kind of like tucked back far up on a shelf on my desk, so my wife doesn't see them. She'll be like, "What's that? That's not a Transformer."
Yeah, neither is Perry the Platypus.
I guess
I had to literally beg her to let you have that. Anyway,
the Phineas Ferb, the Perry the Platypus may have paved the way to let her allow me a little space here for the Overwatch guys.
There you go. And good thing now, Funko is actually making real Transformers, not just movie versions.
I saw that.
I love Funko. I love them.
Yeah.
I have a whole bunch sitting. I'm looking right now at Grimlock and GameStop Optimus because GameStop Optimus is an exclusive to the box set that they were doing this year, and he has his orange energy axe from the first episode when he and Megatron were fighting. So they are actually doing the actual Transformers brand now. They've had the license for years because they had the movie toy license, I guess, and right. Even then, I don't want to see the insides and the outsides of my Funko Pops.
I would not buy like a Bayverse Chicken Walker Starscream Funko.
No. What is the most money you spent on a toy?
Oh wow. Besides the box sets, because those were like $350 a pop.
Yeah, I mean,
even my Fort Max, I think I only spent like $200 on him. I got an auction on eBay. I got a G1 complete Trypticon and a G1 complete Predaking, and it's a steel body one, right? Mm-hmm. I think I paid $700 for both.
Oh wow!
I think that's what I remember spending something for $700, and it was a huge purchase, and I got a bunch of stuff, and the Predaking and the Trypticon were in that set. But they were expensive, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it's hard to find a Predaking in good shape. I mean, even the reissues now. I mean, I've got another Predaking that's like a plastic reissue, but it's not the same. I mean, the metal body ones. Oh, I know it's exciting. They're fun to play with. It's exciting.
It's like Optimus Primal always says. Die-cast construction. It's a lost art.
It's a lost art. Exactly.
What was the cheapest toy you bought? Basically, what was the best deal you ever got on a figure that may have been worth quite a bit more than you paid?
That's a good question. The Fort Max in the box from 2000, I got for $200. And honestly, I think I probably should have paid more. But the vendor was like, I'm packing up. Do you want to deal on anything I got here? And I'm like, well, I got about $200 left. Do you want to sell me the Fort Max? And I said, it's really big. Maybe you don't want to pack him back up in the truck. And the guy's like, 200? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, all right, fine. So I gave him my last $200 and walked out with the Fort Max, which is crazy. Because honestly, $200 is probably what I would have paid for him when he was new.
True.
Shipping him from Japan. The other deal, really quick story. I was at a garage sale because my wife and I used to do garage sales for fun on the weekends in the summer. And there was a garage sale. This kid had a box of Beast Wars figures, and it had like Cheetor and Rhinox and a bunch of other like early ones, and a couple of the Transmetal ones. And some of them were, missing pieces, but for the most part, they were pretty solid. And I think I bought it for like $5. It was crazy. And the kid was like, let me show you how to transform him. And I felt bad taking toys away from a child. And I remember when my mom was like, you don't play with these anymore, do you? Why don't you let me sell them for pennies on the dollar? And I kind of felt that way with this kid, where it's like, all right, I got probably $200 worth of Beast Wars figures here in a box, and he's showing me how to transform Cheetor, and I'm like, that's really cool. And at the time, I didn't have any Beast Wars figures because I just wasn't a fan of Beast Wars. But I got a bunch of them, and it wasn't until a few years later that I really went whole hog and started buying up all the Beast Wars toys. But that was my first kind of foray in the Beast Wars, and I'm like, well, they're Transformers, and it's a whole box of them for $5, so I'm going to go ahead and get them. But that was a really good deal.
Awesome. When you visit toy shows or conventions, when it's not COVID times, do you have a typical methodology? Do you bring a certain amount of money for what you're looking for, or do you just see what you can find?
Honestly, I think like in '99 I brought a certain amount of money, but then after that it was like, no, I'm just bringing a credit card. Whatever I get, I get. Like I said, I had that spreadsheet, and when I printed it out, I would carry it with me, and I'd pull it on my backpack, and I'd say, oh, do you have this, or do you have that? And I'd show a picture of it, you have this in the box or something. And that was basically what I did for years. Just carry my spreadsheet around and look for stuff, especially for things like I was looking for a G2 orange scrapper for years. And he was on my spreadsheet, and I would just walk around, you got this guy? And eventually there was a vendor who had him and gave me a really good price on him. I was really excited, but it took me years to get an arm for my orange Devastator.
What do you think it is about our generation that causes our childhood toys to mean so much more to us, for instance, than, say, our parents' generation?
I don't know. I mean,
they didn't have the cool toys like we did.
Maybe they didn't have cool toys. Honestly, I don't think toys were cool until like the 80s.
True.
Because they didn't have the cartoon to go along with them. It's like Howdy Doody. Oh, like Toy Story. So you got Woody, and there was like the Howdy Doody TV show, and the kids would watch it and they'd be like, I want a Woody. And they'd get a Woody, and they'd get a whatever the girl's name and whatever the horse's name was, and that's their toys. Yeah, but in the 80s, you watch the TV show, and there's a set of 100 toys to buy. And
120 new toys within the last 3 episodes.
Exactly. It's like that's what the Transformers movie was, is we have to sell more toys. We're going to kill off all the characters from the first line, and we're going to bring in all the characters from the new line, and the kids are going to buy them because it's a movie now, not just a cartoon that you come home from school and watch. But I'd come home from school and I'd watch Transformers and I'd watch G.I. Joe and I'd watch Thundercats and He-Man, and we'd have the toys, and they kind of married up. And I don't think you got that before the 80s.
Not really, no.
I'm not sure if you get that even in the 90s, because it's like, what I don't find? I don't find a lot of like Rugrats toys.
You got that with like Spider-Man and Batman and that kind of stuff, but yeah, and obviously Pokemon and trading cards and blah 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 blah.
Yeah. Oh, Pokemon. Yeah, you're right. Pokemon they did it right. They had a cartoon. They had cards.
They hooked you in with the cartoon and that damn card game.
And could the card game be considered the toys? Because it got a cartoon, but I've also got a collection of 120 cards.
True.
I gotta buy 50 packs of cards in order to get a full set.
Yep.
And then I gotta trade all the commons with my little brother, or whatnot. But yeah, they did it right. That's how you do it. And I think to a certain extent, Transformers tried to do that later on.
I remember specifically there were Transformers. It wasn't a trading card game, but there were Transformers trading cards.
Yeah.
I had like 5 or 6 of them. I wish I could find them now, just so I could see, not that I want them or anything, but just so I could see and remember them, because the only thing I remember is holding a card in my hand that had like Ironhide driving away in like one of the scenes or something or other. So I know that Transformers had trading cards. I mean, everything had trading cards. Hell, X-Men, the animated series, had I specifically remember.
I still got those.
I specifically remember the X-Men trading cards because there was the blue team cards and there was the gold team cards. This was X-Men Trading Cards Series 2.
But do you have the hologram set?
No, I don't have any of the cards. I haven't had trading cards in forever.
Oh, that's one of the things. When I was a teenager, I had a huge comic book collection, and the trading cards were part of it. So I still have the trading cards.
There you go. What is your motivation for purchasing toys? To display, play, fiddle. Describe your collecting style. Are you a completionist, a storyteller, a cherry picker, or otherwise?
Wow, that's a big question. There's a lot to cover there.
Yes, it is.
For a long time, I was a completionist. So, once I got past, I'm just going to buy the combiners that I liked when I was little, Mm-hmm. Once I had everything from 84 and 85, it was just kind of snowballed from there. I mean, I got I got back into collecting probably in 99. I got my first job in Chicago. I had disposable income, and I had a buddy at work who said, "Oh, have you seen Beast Machine or Beast Wars?" And it's like, no, he had a Transmetal 2 Megatron Dragon on his desk, and I'm like, that is the coolest damn thing I've ever seen. What is that? And he's like, oh, it's Megatron, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute.
Uh-huh.
And after that, I started buying the Transmetal stuff that I really like, and I didn't get the originals, but I got a lot of the Transmetal, and then Beast Machines came out, and that's when I really became a completionist and started buying everything. Back when like KB Toys was open at the mall, we'd go to the mall and I'd be like, I gotta go to the toy store because there's probably new Beast Machines. And I started collecting stuff from Japan, and I started, just getting like I said, one or two of each. And so, and that lasted a long time. And nowadays, I don't buy anything, but I'm just happy with what I have, I think. Sometimes I look back and say, oh, maybe there's something from like Overlord. I don't have a Japanese Overlord. Not many people do, and the people who do, it was like, this is my holy grail, and I've got it now.
Right.
But it's like, do I need to go back and get one of those? Probably not. I don't feel the compulsion that I used to. Rather, for me, it's like collecting was about the hunt. I want to go. I'm going to look at all the Targets, and I'm going to look at all the Walmarts, and
he's going to look in all the back rooms of Targets.
I'm going to scour the back rooms because I know they got them back there. They're hiding them.
It's release dates, man. It's release dates. Have you ever purchased a vintage toy for a child because you thought it would be fun based on your own preferences?
Yes, I have. So, in more recent years, my son Aiden has become interested in Transformers. So, I've gotten toys for him. So he's got a lot of Power of the Primes and things like that. Things that have come out in the last several years, and including the Insecticons. So he's got a set of those Insecticons that came out, and it's like, well, if you like these guys, what you're really gonna like, it's gonna blow your mind, is the 1985 Insecticons, because those were some of my favorites. I loved them on the TV show, and I love the figures, and they're really simple. Nowadays all the chrome's worn off, and their legs are too loose, but I take my boy to, well, up until COVID, but I've taken a lot of the Comic-Cons, and they'll have toys there. And at one point, we ran into a couple Insecticons, and I made sure that he got a couple Insecticons that were in good shape and had their guns.
Cool.
Yeah, so he's got those in his room next to his more updated Insecticons. And yeah, they still hold up. I honestly, I think I prefer the G1 better.
Do you do any toy modifications or customs? Painting, build dioramas?
No, I don't. In fact, I don't do anything to my toys. For a long time, collecting to me was, I have to find the best looking figure with the most stickers and the best paint. And I didn't try to touch them up myself. I don't like repro labels. I shouldn't say that. Wait. I like repro labels, right? I like the idea of, this is a figure with no stickers, and I can restore this figure to its, vintage original look by using repro labels.
Right.
Or what I did once, what's it called? Alternators. Alternators was a really, really nice Transformers line that people don't remember as well as they should. But the Jazz, there's an Alternators Jazz that was just pure white. And Repro Labels sold a set of stickers that turned him into G1 Jazz. And I bought those stickers. Yeah, I bought those stickers and I put him on the Jazz. And honestly, I love that Jazz. He looks fantastic. But I feel bad saying, oh, yeah, I got this vintage toy and I'm going to restore his stickers. It's like, no, I want to find the best stickers and the best paint on a toy that's vintage.
Hmm.
And, for all I know, somebody replaced the stickers with repro labels on it already. But I don't want to say I don't like repro labels. I like Toy Hacks. I think they provide a good service, and they're not too expensive. But that being said, I don't put them on my own toys very much, with a few exceptions.
Do you think toy companies should specifically have adult collector toys, child toys, or find a way to mix both?
That's an interesting question because Hasbro is doing a good job juggling that right now. They've got their kids set, which is like Cyberverse, that are very they're not very good toys. Like we discussed, what makes a good toy? Does it feel good in your hands? Does it transform easily? Is it easy to play with? And these figures I don't like them as much. I just don't like them. But they also, have their stuff that's more leaning toward adults. And I'm not specifically talking like a $600 Unicron, but that's like the end result of that. We're looking at adult collectors. Would you mind spending $600 on a toy the size of a small child? And it's like, yeah, sure, I'll buy that. But yeah, I like the idea of saying, well, we have a line for little kids because that's where our bread and butter is, and we have a line for adult collectors because if we don't, they're gonna throw a fit. It's funny because I think I want to say that Transformers might be. Oh no, that's not right. I was gonna say Transformers might be the only line that actually does that, but He-Man did that. Mattel made a line of collector's figures that were only available to adults through mail order because they just didn't have any He-Man on the shelf. So they did not have a kids line. They only had the adult line.
Yeah, because at that point, back in 2007, 8, or 9, I forget when Classic started. Yeah. At that point, there was nothing in 2008. There was no cartoon. There was no nothing. Yeah, whatever.
Old fans.
There was just old fans, and it's like, hey, and this is perfect because I can put this right here.
This is Radio Free Cybertron.
Thank God Hasbro isn't Mattel. Ender, the floor is yours.
Oh, Mattel's Masters of the Universe has gotten to be like the most malignant, moronic, mishandled line in history. Not since a Hasbro creative meeting when one executive blurted out, "Let's kill the red truck guy," has a franchise been handled worse. The Masters of the Universe classics are an amazing line. They use modern toy-making techniques to bring out the best of a vintage figure, retaining its charm and essence while consistently exceeding modern quality standards and delivering fan-driven fun for the adult collector at a price that, while higher than average, is altogether reasonable. Sadly, the He-Man genius Falcon reaches its apex at this conceptual stage, and then careens out of the sky with the aerodynamic grace of a quadriplegic hippo with an inner ear infection, plummets through a sky of inept customer service, plows straight and through a swamp of incompetent planning, and rests broken and ruptured in a bedrock of useless management. MattyScalper.com's inability to even handle its monthly server load, much less the demand for its product, has settled into a comfortable pattern of letting itself be milked by scalpers at a rate of 10 figures an order while the real customers wait in error screens. Meanwhile, scalpers, who are, by the way, the most worthless scum on earth, have already posted their overpriced rip-off auctions on the well-oiled servers of eBay, touting items' rarity due to a false scarcity they themselves have created with the foolish help of Mattel. Nothing endears fans to a brand like having legal tender slapped out of their hands as they attempt to exchange it for your product. The Band-Aid of a club was offered, seemingly a reasonable fix. You commit to buying the figures, and they guarantee you one. Simple enough. Until the line branches out into non-club figures, and the cycle begins again, as Battle Cat is snapped up by the scalping horde, and He-Man fans get shackled with Wondar, a not remake of a never-was exclusive. Now, underestimating demand for a fan line or miscalibrating your limits is not an unreasonable error. They have to make a profit and have to hedge their bets. However, one might think that after 1.5 to 2 years might be enough time to calibrate well enough that your servers don't crash every full moon and your product lasts more than half a hour. Mattel, get your together. Fire everyone on this project who is not a designer and sell us our toys. We give you money, you give us stuff.
Because someone else I'm going to have on this podcast at some point, our good buddy Ender.
Yes.
As you've heard, folks, just now, has an amazing Mattel and Matty Collector rant that he did on Radio Free Cybertron back when this first happened, when Battle Cat came out. And people would have just heard this in the audio and in the actual episode. But I love Ender and in his rant on what Matty Collector and Digital River and all of that did back then. Because it's like, you know, the whole point is we give you money, you give us stuff.
Yeah.
You don't, you know, jerk us around and went, oh, God, Matty Clue. Wow. But yeah, basically, yes, it was crazy back then. You've kind of already mentioned this a few times a little bit. Do you have a my parents got rid of my toys story?
That was it. My parents got rid of my toys. My wife got rid of my toys. My kids got rid of my toys. When my kids were old enough to start playing with toys, I would, you know, buy them toys of their own. But I would also, you know, buy one for myself and put it away in the pile, right? But I also, you know, sometimes would just get one for them. Or in there was a couple situations where they got some for their birthdays or whatever, and I didn't have one. Like Twin Twist. The Power of the Prime's Twin Twist was hard to find at the stores. Sludge, the combiner Sludge for the Dinobot set, couldn't find him in the stores, but somebody ordered him one. I think it might have been Chrissy's mom. Somebody got him one, so he has one, and I don't have one. It's like, I want one of those. But as far as like throwing away my toys, there in his room there are figures, and some of them may be mine, some of them may be his, but he's got a goodly sized collection. And sometimes they break. sometimes they lose pieces.
They break, folks.
Oh my God! You know, and it hurts right here in my heart. You know, when I see a broken Transformer. He's got one upstairs. It's a Combiner Wars Quake, and it was the repaint of Hardhead, right? And he doesn't have a head. I don't know where it is. I don't know what he did to it. And Hardhead has this tank turret on his shoulder that's completely snapped off. And it's like, I don't know what you did to this toy. You know, he doesn't mistreat him. You know, it probably just fell off the shelf or something. But it's like, this hurts. It hurts right here.
Well, that's the thing. When we were kids, we played with our toys until, you know, I don't think I have them anymore, but you know, my original, I had them a few years ago. I think it was whatever. Anyway, but basically, I had my original '88 Leo and Donnie still. But the belts were all screwed up. You couldn't see like you could see more of the whites of their eyes than you could the color of the bandana. I mean, obviously I could tell which one was which because Leonardo's skin was one color and Donatello's skin was another color, and that's fine. And plus, obviously, they're in different poses kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, as kids, we played with our toys. We weren't thinking about how we would be 40-something years later and be like, oh, it has to be mint in box or mint on card or
right.
You know.
Yeah.
But just and I think that's the thing with your boys, you know, as they grew up, that were playing with their toys. Even though you were trying to instill in them about the whole thing of eventually this may get you through college or something. I don't know. You know what I mean? But like the parent that you are, the geek that you are,
Yeah.
you know, you're that geek dad that would be like, oh, son, but this is supposed to be blah, blah, blah. Don't rip its head off, please, kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like, you know, play
Right.
with it, but don't play with it to the point where it breaks.
Yeah. Well, that was the rule. You know, it's like you can take this toy and take it upstairs to your room, but the rule is we don't lose it and we don't break it. That's the rule. It's like a library book.
Yes, this is on borrowed time, son.
Exactly. Yeah.
Do you feel you are coming to an end of your active collecting? If so, what has signified this phase for you? Was there ever a moment in your life before this when you were done with toys, or have you ever considered stopping completely or even selling your whole collection?
Wow. That question was just for me too, huh?
No. That question's for everybody.
The answer is yes. You know, during the Bayverse, when the Transformers movies, I watched them and enjoyed them as much as anybody else, as much as you possibly can.
Yeah.
But the toys, I don't like those figures. I stopped collecting around that time. Now, I'm trying to think what else was going on. I still have more toys, and I didn't stop completely. I still bought toys, but I severely curtailed after 2007, and I stopped pretty much collecting altogether. Like I said, about 2020 was really hard. I just did not have the income at all, to buy toys, and so I just stopped buying it. And at this point, it's like I can't justify going back and spending ridiculous amounts of money for the figures that I missed.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I could probably go back on, Entertainment Earth or something and buy old boxes or old crates. It's like, oh, I got a crate from, because that's, they sometimes put them on sale. But I mean, I wouldn't get all of them. It would just be more trouble than I believe it's worth. At this point, it's like, yeah, I'm about a year, 2 years behind, 2.5 years behind. I don't know if it's worth it. I've run out of space. Like I said, I'm only allowed my one room, and the closet's full. I don't have any more space behind my desk. All my oak shelves are chock full. I've actually got like bins full. I got way too much stuff, basically. And that leads me to the last part of their question, was would I imagine selling it? And part of me is like, no, never. I'm going to take this bigger. This is going to be my mausoleum, and it will be lined with Transformers. Like the pharaohs of old. You're going to build a pyramid and just stick me in there with all my plastic crack. But I've thought about it, especially when you said, the box set for Shattered Glass is $5,000. I'm like, oh my god, how quickly can I sell this for $5,000?
That's not sold. That's just what somebody listed it for.
Yeah, some crazy person's just waiting for someone to spend that much. No one's going to buy that for $5,000.
Hell no.
But I did see somebody selling it for like $1,000 at one point, and I was like, for $1,000, I'd put it on eBay.
Yeah.
But yeah, part of me is like, at what point, and I've given this some serious introspection, at what point do I feel like I could sell the set? And it's hard because I don't believe that I would be able to sell everything and get a decent price for it, right? It'd be like, and we've had this conversation before about the, what's that show where people take all their stuff to
Collection Intervention and Toy Hunter? Yeah.
Yeah, not
Stars.
the Toy Hunter. Yeah, that guy. He gets good deals, and he's always lowballing them, and I get it. Toy Hunter would have a field day in my house, but the Pawn Stars episode where they go to the guy's house and he's got G1 toys duplicates lined up on the floor.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at this collection going, holy cow, there's possibly tens of thousands of dollars here, you know?
Yeah, because that guy had like 8 Fort Maxes and like he had that was so staged.
It was, I don't know, it was crazy all the stuff this guy had. I'm like, oh my god, this guy puts my collection to shame, and I got a lot, you know?
Right.
I've got thousands of Transformers. And this guy was like, holy cow, I can't imagine this. And they offered him, I want to say like $5,000 for the whole set.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. I don't remember.
The equivalent of my mom saying, here's a box of vintage Star Wars. I'll take $40, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, what? No. You know, but the alternative, and I understand why, and it's because when you try to sell your Transformers, you have to market them. You have to put them on a website like eBay or something, or Facebook Marketplace. You have to handle all the payments. You have to package them. You have to ship them. You have to do all the customer service. You know, you've inevitably got this guy that says it broke, you know, or this isn't what I wanted. I wanted one with blah, blah, blah. And it's like, that's not my fault. You paid me for it and I sent it to you. No, you got to send it back now. I want a refund. And it's like, Jesus. Selling things is not worth my time or effort, basically. Could I possibly, you know, package up all my G1 stuff and sell it? Or not let's just say 1984. Let's say I take the 1984 line, I take pictures of it, I put it on eBay, and I try to sell it. It's the hassle involved would be ridiculous. And by the time I got them all sold, I might get $1,500, $2,000 tops.
Right.
And it's like, wow, all that effort for $2,000. I'm not sure. I mean, $2,000 seems like a lot of money, but again, you're fighting with people. You're getting people haggling with you. Yeah, you got a guy who's like, oh, I won it for $2,000, but I didn't mean to. I wouldn't retract my offer. It's like, what? I met a guy at, and I'm sorry to go down a rabbit hole here, but I met a guy at a Comic-Con that was a friend of my wife. He was actually a substitute teacher. And he's like, yeah, I substitute teach on the side, but what I really like to do is you know, set up shop at these Comic-Cons. And he sold comics. He had a lot of comics. And he's like, dude, you know, I see a lot of vendors come through here. I've done a lot of Comic-Cons, you know, and I've seen your wife has shown me pictures of your collection. If you brought your collection here and laid it out on the table, they would disappear within a day. And it's like, you know, and whatever price you want to put on them, that's what they're going to sell for. And you don't have to ship them to people. You don't have to, you know, do anything crazy. You know, you don't have to haggle with it. Well, you have to haggle a certain bit, I guess. But, you know, if you just say, look, the prices I got down here are firm, you know, all the accessories that they came with are right there. You know, these are 40-year-old figures. If you don't mind spending, you know, if you want to spend $200, you know, on Hound, because he's got all of his little pieces, that's what I'm selling them for, you know. And they would just scoop it up, hand you cash, and run off. And I'm thinking, that's not a terrible idea. But the other thing is, I've got so much. It wouldn't, you know, I've got enough stuff here that would last weeks selling them at a table. And I don't know if I want to do that. I don't know if that's how I would want to spend my Comic-Con time.
So you're in Indiana.
Yeah. Close to Chicago.
Just outside of Chicago kind of thing. You're on the other side of the border.
Uh-huh.
I need to put you in touch with my buddy Joe Reed, who is actually going to be the next episode of Origins here on ToyCast. He has this thing up in Grand Rapids, Michigan called the Geek Stuff Garage Sale. They do not charge for tables. You could take your entire closet of all the packaged toys that you have up there and just price them out. You'd make so much bank.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Well, that's something to think about. But again,
Exactly.
I would have to research, and how much is this figure selling for now? And this guy's got a scratch on him or something. It's like, what would I take this for? It's like, oh yeah, I do have a G1 Thundercracker, but the stickers on his shoulders are missing. So how much do I charge for that versus a one with the right stickers? I don't know. I never thought I'd sell them. I don't even worry about how much I could get for them. But then I'd have to research it all, and then I have to transport them all out there, and I don't know. Part of me is like, yeah, that's not such a terrible idea, but it's just a lot of effort. And this isn't my full-time gig,
No, it's not. What is something that does not have a toy of it you'd love to have in toy form?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. I don't have a good answer for that. I don't. Is there something that you think I would want? I don't have. Because honestly, they've made all the toys. Hasbro's like, look at all the stuff we've made.
Well, I mean, that's the thing about Kingdom. They're doing stuff in Kingdom that, for me, if I wasn't just, it's only because I don't really care, because I just want the stuff so where I can see it, and I can, I can reach over here, grab Funko Pop Optimus Prime. Okay, literally, the Funko Pop Optimus Prime, it's literally a tiny body of the original, it looks just like the toy, except it's got a giant head. So that's the only difference. I can look at that and be like, oh, cool, I have this Optimus, he has his energy axe. At the same time, there are 2 Kingdom toys that I would love to have. The sad thing is, because I don't want to transform them, I would have to have 2 of each of them. So, and that would be Kingdom Galvatron and Commander Class Rodimus. Because when I saw people revealing and doing videos of Commander Class Rodimus, I'm like,
he looks good.
It's 19. I specifically remember this. I didn't get him until when did the original Rodimus, not Hot Rod?
It was 86, 87?
87, somewhere around. I don't remember, but the actual Space Winnebago trailer Rodimus come out.
86.
I remember specifically being in Key Biscayne, Florida in December of 1989. I went everywhere with that toy. So Commander Class Rodimus, when I first saw him, I'm like, they've done everything. They've put everything in the big size, into this, into that, and it's Rodimus 40 years later, but better. I'm like, gimme. But for me, I don't need to rush out and try to figure out how, I just don't, I love it. I love that he's there. I wish I could have him. I don't need him. I don't need anybody to buy him for me or anything like that. I'm not asking.
Yeah.
I mean, really, if I was going to ask for something, it would be Funko Pop Nemesis Prime because of reasons. But anyway.
Repaint's hard to find.
No, repaints, well, he was a Funko Shop exclusive. And anyway, it's a whole other thing.
We also talked about the third-party stuff. So it's even stuff that I don't think would ever get built sometimes gets built. Yeah. Like the comic books, you've got G.I. Joe versus Transformers, right?
Right.
You've got Optimus Prime turning into a Cobra Stun. It's a vehicle that has cannons and it splits in the front.
Right.
I loved that vehicle. The Rolling Thunder, loved that vehicle. I mean, and they have in the comic books, look, Optimus Prime turns into this, and or different characters turning into different stuff, and you think, well, they're never going to make a toy of that, but you have third-party companies that are making that toy, and it's like that is the coolest thing ever. Hearts of Steel, wow, I never thought I needed a Bumblebee that turned into a train, but someone's making it. So it's like that's a really cool idea. That's awesome. Someone's making it.
So this next question comes from the Pullbag Origins questions, where I usually ask, what is one item in a comic book that you would love to have in real life? Example would be, Batman's Batarang or Green Lantern's ring or that kind of thing. So what is one toy you'd love to have scaled up and functional for real people?
Oh, the Weather Dominator.
No, bad Michael. No. We don't need any rainy, cloudy skies over at Pecan Court. Thank you very much.
I would only do good things with it.
Sure you would. You're a damn liar.
I would position those rain clouds over the crops, and I would make it sunny and pleasant wherever people needed it to be sunny and pleasant.
I don't know how this question came at this number, and you've kind of already told us the story of the deal, but 37 in a row, how have your spouses, significant others, mates, partners, etc., 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 dealt with your collection?
It's funny because I hear horror stories about people that are like, 40-year-old virgin.
Yeah.
People come in and they see my room and they freak out. It's like, you bring home a girl and you say, do you want to see my pleasure room? And they're like, yeah. And you bring them in and there's 2,000 Transformers on a shelf. Yeah. But no, like I said, my wife has been really supportive. And it sounds like, she's horrible. She only lets you have one collection and she makes you fit one room. But the fact is she's really cool. She's brought me home toys. We've gone on vacations where she buys me toys. Father's Day, birthdays, the kids have, go and buy out Target. There was, I want to say it was during the drought, right? During the Bayverse stuff, when I wasn't collecting so much. My wife would have Father's Day, and there would be a stack of toys, and my kids would be like, we bought every toy at Target for you. And my wife would say, do you have these already? And I'm like, no, I haven't been buying them because, it's Michael Bay. But at the same time, thank you. This is awesome. Yeah. Yeah. But, she's so supportive. She's easily the best.
Awesome. Toy collecting can have its struggles. What is one aspect that you tend to struggle with the most?
Unemployment. That was the worst. That was really hard. Again, COVID's hard on everybody.
Right.
And the economy's bouncing back. Jobs are coming back. I can't complain now, but that was hard. As far as like collecting, during the best of times, I don't know. Again, I used to enjoy the hunt. I used to go find the toys, and I've got one of each. I found the toys, right? Mm-hmm. And sometimes I had to go into the back room at Target to get the ones I wanted, but I got them. And nowadays, I like to still look at the toys. Can't find them anywhere. I don't know if it's the scalpers buying them up before I can get there. And again, I don't go there religiously like I used to, but it'd be nice to go to the store and see them on the shelves.
Yeah, I think the only thing people are doing with that right now is basically Origins, He-Man, and Skeletor. At least those will always be on the shelves.
They look good, though. I like them. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What is one positive and one negative memory you have with buying toys?
Wow. Positive memory. I want to say, like, the story that you keep bringing up was the time I went to Target, and there was a 3-month period where you just didn't see any toys on the shelf. And normally, like, just before Christmas, all the toys dry up, and they don't restock them until, like, February, right?
Right.
So it was about February or March or somewhere in there, and I go to Target, and they had moved the stock out onto the aisle. They had a pallet full of toys, and I, just basically broke out my key and stripped off the tape off a couple of the boxes and started pulling them out. And I would grab them and just throw a couple on the shelf and put what I wanted in my cart. And I got like 20 figures that day. And, you exaggerate. You're like, oh, you went out in the back room and, opened all the stock up. And no, it wasn't in the back room. It was out in the aisle. But, somebody came in the aisle and said, hey, you can't do that. And I showed him my cart and I said, I'm going to buy all these. And I'm sorry if I left a bunch of boxes open in the aisle, on this pallet, but I'm buying these. If you want me to put the rest of them on the shelf, I will, but I'm taking these with. And the guy's like, no, don't bother, it's fine. And I'm like, okay, cool. But I had already opened all the boxes. And I got like all the figures. So and it was probably, aside from like BotCon trips, it might have been the most figures I'd ever bought at the same time.
Jeez.
Yeah. And so that was, that was a story that we still talk about today.
Yeah, because it's the one thing I lord over you, the fact that you went in the back room of Target and
exactly. I fought my way through Stock Boys and
exactly.
I had like Raiders of the Lost Ark style, go through the warehouse until I found just the right pallet of toys.
Yup.
This story just grows.
Hey man, it is what it is.
Yeah. But that was the best one. I don't know if I have a bad story about like buying toys. One time I bought a Computron, and it was from a seller in Italy, and I sent them $100 and never got the toy.
Oh jeez, yeah, that would be a negative purchase.
And I could not track it down. I was really pissed.
Jeez, that's not good.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
Yeah, well, that's good. If you could create any toy, what would you want to create? Basically, Hasbro gives you the Transformers license, they give you the keys to the kingdom, quite literally, and money is no object. What would you want to make with it?
Oh, wow. I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of... how should I put it? There's a lot of repaints out there already. But it's like, wouldn't it be nice if we could still bring back some of those unused, G2 repaints? Like we have current Dinobots, but we don't have them in green, or we have lots of Secret Jets, but we don't have Cyberjet repaints. It's like, why can't I get a repaint of Hooligan? It's like, I kind of want one. And sometimes we do. We get like a repaint of G2 Ramjet or G2 Starscream. But the Cyberjets had fantastic colorings, and we don't get them. Or, you know what? Let's revisit the Cyberjets, because those were fantastic figures. They were very posable, and they had cool gimmicks, and they were very interesting. Why can't we make secret repaints of those?
There you go.
We probably could. They're smaller scale. They'd be cheaper, easier to manufacture, and limitless repaint possibilities.
There you go. What is the one piece of advice you would give the toy collecting fandom?
Wow, I don't know. Don't spend all your money on toys. I don't know. I know a few guys, who have really good jobs, and they, have, money is no object. Just buy whatever you want. And I like that. I think at one point I was kind of like that. But, eventually, do I regret buying so many toys? I wouldn't say regret, but I know now that maybe there was stuff I could have been spending my money on other than thousands of dollars in toys.
Very true, very true. All right, let's see here.
Don't spend it all in one place. There we go.
There
you go.
What is advice you'd give to kids who enjoy toys?
Enjoy them. Don't let anybody tell you can't.
Exactly. I think that's. I think in all of these episodes we've done so far, that's been almost everyone's answer at this point. Because
I don't know if who are the people that are telling kids that they shouldn't play with toys. I don't. Aside from your parents, I just don't understand.
That's funny. It was only my dad, and it was a long time ago. Heck, he probably doesn't even remember it.
With my own kids, I try to give them opportunities to do as much as they want, to experience as much as they want. We've done sports, we've done musical instruments, we've done, lots and lots of toys, computers. They have the ability to do anything that they want. And, if part of that is, they want to play certain video games or they like particular toys, like my son Aiden really likes Transformers. So I've kind of spoiled him. Gavin really likes Fortnite. So he's got a lot of Fortnite figures and stuff. And we don't discourage them from playing with anything. We don't discourage them from doing anything. I mean,
right.
I got a guitar and a drum set here in the basement that they might not ever touch again, but we expose them to these things and let them play with them.
Right, exactly, yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, there you go, folks. PecanCtMichael's Toy Story.
That was it. We're done.
That's it. 42 questions. That's it. We're done. You kidding me? We've been here for like 4 hours.
It's probably been 2, and then we spent a goodly chunk of that just BSing.
Yeah, which no one will hear. Thank you for joining us here on ToyCast. If you'd like to get in contact with us, leave feedback for the show, there are several ways to do so. Visit the website, geekcastradio.com, where you can comment on this and all of our other content. Send an email to feedback@geekcastradio.com. Just put the show and episode number in the subject line that you're replying to. Here are all the ways you can listen to us nowadays: Apple, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and of course the home where our files exist, Spreaker, as well as any other podcatching client you use. But I prefer you use one of these. Leave the show's feedback in iTunes. ToyCast is back, folks. In case you hadn't realized, it's the beginning of August now, and we've had almost 2 solid months of episodes. First time in over 7 years.
Nice.
Yeah. Follow us on Twitter. @GeekCastRadio is the network. @TFToycast is for the show. My Twitter is TFG1Mike. What is your Twitter?
PecanCtMichael.
Become a fan on Facebook. Go to facebook.com/GeekCastRadio Network. You can also search out TF Toycast over there as well. For now, I am TFG1Mike with
Michael Wilson.
Join us next time when we will be talking more toys here on ToyCast.
Decepticon intruder in my brain. Let's go. Decepticon intruder removes my eyes. The giant awakes.
Sweet. Nice. Done.
I am very happy that we didn't try to record Phineas and Ferb and this because...
yeah, no, that would not have worked.
That would not have worked.
No, that would not have worked.
We would have been
not
crying
at all.
about it.
Yeah.